All right, so today we are going to be talking music in general, of course, and we're focusing on choir music. And so today we have a professor, I call him that, is a musicologist. Dr. Opeyemi Asaolu is in the studio. Of course, we'll be talking about the OGD Choir Festival, which happens every year. And of course, this is the third in series, right? Yes. Thank you very much for joining us at this point. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for coming.
All right, so tell us now, for a lot of people who do not know about the Asiwaju Of Remo Christians Choir Festival, what is this about?
Thank you for having me again. Asiwaju Of Remo Christians Choir Festival is a brainchild of Otumba Daniel. It started as a family Thanksgiving about 16 years ago, and then about 3 years ago, I was consulted and it was rebranded, and we had to inject choir festival choir competition into it.
Oh, okay.
So the highlight of it is actually choir coming together to compete for a prize. And then the second part is the choir festival where the congregation comes around to sing hymns and all that. Now, it started from the fact that Otumba Daniel himself was a choir boy when he was growing up. In actual fact, he was the son of a clergyman, you know. And then when he was at Baptist Boys High School in Abeokuta, he was the college pianist.
Oh.
So that's singular reason made him to have this perchance love for church and choral music. And then he felt that, well, the youth could, you can engage them. They can do a whole lot of things with their time. And when you are engaged, perhaps you need to attend choir rehearsals, you need to think of choir performances, you're taking a solo, you are there, in the spotlight, there may not be that time for you to think about some vices. And I can say that because, I'm an example of that. I took part in everything that has to do with, choir growing up. And I remember so well, and I think I said this yesterday when I was interviewed on the news, that my father called me one day and he said, listen, my father will be so cross with me if I do not put on the choir robe on Sunday for the early communion service, even if I was going to be the only one. And my punishment for that entire week would be that I won't collect my transportation fare. Yeah, I know. And anytime I hear him say, my name is Opeyemi, when I hear Ope, I know there is a problem. But when I hear Opeyemi, I know we are good. So after such services, he's an Anglican priest. So after such a service, and he comes back home, Ope, where were you not at the communion service this morning? And perhaps he wouldn't just say a word. So he now called me one day and he said, I tell you, son, in your studies, that same brain that you used to to read things is the same. If you will do well singing in the church, I bet you will do well with your studies. And I tell people I'm not that brilliant. Those things I pick here and there helps, because I now realize that I could commit to memory pieces. I would do handheld pieces that would be about 10 minutes. And I'll commit all the lines, all the accompaniment, where I'm to come in, where the accompaniment is coming in. I'll commit everything to memory without blinking. So this helps. So that started, and you find out that choirs from far and near started coming, to be part of the program. And they are competing for a prize, and it's huge.
All right, so before we talk about the prize, and before we go further, we'll have to go on a commercial break. And so when we return, we will talk more about this choral festival. Stay tuned.
The future belongs to the dreamers, to the doers, to those who are not afraid of the side hustle. It's for those who are ready to turn their passion into something big. And to help keep you revitalized and inspired, Top T is with you every step of the way. You are made for more. Find your inspiration. Top T, big round bags of flavor.
Of course, you're watching TVC Breakfast, and this is the entertainment segment. We still have here Dr. Opeyemi Asaolu talking to us about the OGD Choir Festival, of course. And you've been talking about choral music, but a lot of people attribute choral music to spiritual music. They feel once they listen to choral music, there's a sense of spirituality that they attain. We react to that.
All kinds of music. It's spiritual underpinnings. Okay. All kind of music. And you find out that, what might actually inspire you, maybe when you listen to a particular kind of music, may not happen to me. So all of us have our own theme. So it doesn't have to do with church. Somebody once asked a question that, well, Mozart and Mandel and Bach, perhaps, who wrote some music in 1600, 1750, were they born again Christians? Perhaps not. Mm-hmm. But we're still saying Hallelujah chorus up to tomorrow. Mm-hmm. They wrote those music with inspirations. Mm-hmm. If you write oratorio is a large work set to sacred text. The only difference between oratorio and opera is that you won't have those performances like the costumes, stage theme. But oratorio is a large work. So Handel could pick a theme from Genesis up to Revelation, and that's what he had in Messiah 1, 2, 3. You have texts like that about the birth of Jesus Christ. So you find out that spirituality is a personal thing. That what you spiritualize could be as a result of your experience. True. So it doesn't really need to be, okay, well, no, people go to Musan Center here in Lagos to listen to watch choral performances and all that. And it doesn't need to be spiritual music.
Before we went to a break, I was about to ask you how you mentioned price, money, and as an Ijebu girl that I am, I like money. Yes, I am also from Ogun State also. So yeah, I think that this is something I would like to subscribe to. So how much is the money that is being offered for the winners?
The star prize, the star prize, the first prize is 3 million naira.
Ooh, okay.
The second prize is 1.5 million. The third is 1 million. And then the fourth is 750. The fifth is 600, and the sixth is 500,000. And then we have, aside those competing, the 6 choirs competing, we have 12 choirs of serving. Okay, I would liken it to the Premiership and the Champions League. You can't perform in Champions League if you don't have what it takes to be on that league. So those competing, I will regard them as the champions. Yes. And then those observing, they are those in Premiership and Serie A and all of that. Now, the idea behind that is that they'll come this year, you observe. If you have what it takes to compete with those champions, then you come audition the following year, and then you compete. If you scale in, if you're able to scale in the audition, then you are in. So for those observing choirs, they are not just coming to observe; they are going home with something, and each and every one of them will go home with 250,000 each.
But I want to ask, what are the grading parameters? Because we have a lot of gifted people in Nigeria, and I'm sure in Ogun State. So how are you going to choose the winners?
Yes, we have judges who are, they are seasoned judges. The chair of jury is Professor Kawade Oyeseku, a fantastic organist himself and a former vice chancellor of Taishulari University of Education, and he just retired from the services of Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwe. Is the chief judge a fantastic, man, and then the alternate judge is a senior advocate of Nigeria, the music director of CAC Worldwide, Nigeria, and overseas. Elder Abidemi Oyekunle Oyesoya, Adekunle Oyesoya, is the alternate judge, is alternate chief judge. We have Associate Professor Mrs. Omolara Loko, a professor of, an associate professor of music with Lagos State University of Education in Ijaniki. We have Professor Soji Adejuma. We have Lanre Delano. Lanre Delano owns church organ music projects in Nigeria, Chopin. The sells organ and all that. We have Dupe Igekachi. Dupe Igekachi used to be a judge on MTN Project Fame.
Oh.
A fantastic vocal, yeah, a fantastic vocal expert himself. And, the timekeeper is another choral expert, Dr. Michael Bakare. So all these guys coming together to look at what it will take a choir to take, okay, well, no, they deserve this, they do not deserve this. They're going to look at the performance directions. The performance directions will look at, what are the other things you infuse into your performance? The vocal
dexterity.
The vocal dexterity, the appearance, which is the costume. There are about 6 parameters that they are going to look into, and later today the judges will be having their sessions. To look at, okay, no, we're going to look at this, we're going to look at this, we're going to, make sure that this happens and all that.
So looking at choral music, church music, and the music industry, many people have said that many of the artists we have here today came from the church.
Absolutely.
Yes. So what more can the church do to keep those kinds of talent here so that we can have a more vibrant music industry for the Christendom?
I think this kind of program that has been initiated by Asiwaju of Remo Christians, His Excellency Otumba Gbenga Daniel, would go a long way to keep some of our young folks together. Why do people go out there wanting to do the secular music? You could still be doing that. When you mentioned that, my mind, raised back to Don Jazzy.
Yes.
That started from the church.
Yes.
The band
as well. Many of the Rema, many of them started from the church.
So you can't take the church out of the optics of, okay, well, we had it. Some of them were choir boys. Some of them were singing, even as in not just the pop kind of music, the contemporary. They were singing. I know of a guy, one of the guys doing well in the music industry. He was a choir boy at Cathedral Church of Christ, Marina. So if you sing at that level, I'm sorry, it's something huge.
Okay, but what is the significance and the essence of continuing to promote the choir kind of songs, the hymns and hymnals and whatnot?
I said something the other time about spirituality. It happens to us differently. What might appeal to you may not appeal to me.
Sure.
I will listen to him and I'll cry.
Yes.
You might listen to some Sicilians and you get touched. Now, one of the reasons why Otumba Gbenga Daniel decided to actually come up with this is the ability, or the ability to improve the acts of good singing in our churches. And we were at a session last week, Tuesday, and they said, in actual fact, that he has been to churches in Ogun State, some part of Ogun State in the last 1 year. And he has seen that the bar of good singing, has improved. And because churches are now, I still have choirs who wanted to be part of this. People saying, okay, how can we still register? How can we do this? This morning. So the aim of our program is to improve the art of good singing in our churches.
So tomorrow is the day.
Absolutely.
What should we expect? And where?
Well, let me start with where. Opeyemi Daniel built a magnificent edifice in the memory of his father. In actual fact, his father was still alive when that building was commissioned. So I think the Papa only worshipped there once before he passed on. He built, I told you the father was a priest, was a clergyman. So he built the church because the old man had prophesied years ago that God told him he was going to build him a church before he would, join the Saints Triumphant. And that happened. So he named that church Abraham's Tabernacle. That's the name of the father. The father is Abraham. Okay. So he named that church Abraham's Tabernacle. The church is on Opeyemi Asaolu Road, GRA, Shagam. That's where the program is coming up. And then the other thing you said about
what do we expect?
Yeah, what do we expect? I know what each of those choirs have injected into their rehearsals. So it's going to be explosive tomorrow. That I know. I'm looking forward to it.
Is it going to be streamed live, or we have
to be there? It's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be. We have our website. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. So it's going to be live on different channels. And then I want to think that your channel will be dipping in and out.
Definitely.
We hope to.
Definitely. So I'm being told that you have to sing for us as a choir master.
Sing Amazing Grace.
Okay. Banker is putting me on the spot. Amazing grace, how sweet thou art, that here that I tell like thee. Da, 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 dee, da, da,
I'm clapping for you. Beautiful voice.
He refused to say he just had to go for the notes. Some suffer notes.
But the voice was nice. Can you hum like that?
No.
Come on, clap for him.
I cannot.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Of course, Professor, musicologist, Dr. Opeyemi Asaolu, has been talking to us about the OGD Choir Festival holding tomorrow.